If you're adept at tracking wild animals, or have a keen sense of nature, like being able to identify a habanero pepper growing out in the wilderness and knowing eating one raw just to have a fun hook for a D&D review video would be incredibly stupid, you may just be a ranger. Join me. Sorry, it's still really hot. Join me for a quick review of the changes coming to the ranger base class in D&D 2024. The ranger class is being billed as one that's gone through a complete transformation, and to be fair, there's quite a few changes. Let's knock out the easy stuff. At level 1, similar to the changes to the Paladin, spellcasting starts at level 1. There's been a push to have the class lean a bit more on its magical tradition by allowing them to prepare more spells than they used to. As with all the martial-inclined classes, Rangers will get Weapon Mastery feature, allowing them to choose 2 weapons from which to use their mastery properties. Alright, and now to the biggest and most controversial change. What's interesting is that what's really impacting the new Ranger the most isn't explicitly a class feature, but rather a spell, or rather, an over-reliance on the spell, Hunter's Mark. You can see this at level 1 with Favorite Enemy, which allows you to always have the spell prepared and gives you some free castings. The class then starts to more heavily integrate with the spell, giving you Relentless Hunter at 13, which no longer requires a concentration check to maintain when you take damage, and Precise Hunter, which grants advantage on attack rolls to those marked. Now, if you've played a Ranger, you see the issue. The concentration requirement means that you're foregoing a lot of other spells in order to essentially use several of your class features. The bonus action requirement to place and move the mark, to a lesser extent, further imposes limitations on other features competing for that resource. Probably the most despised change is the level 20 feature. Foe Slayer makes it so you deal an additional d10 instead of d6 on marked targets. This is a pathetic capstone, as mechanically it translates to a couple extra points of damage, again tied to the use of a spell which isn't guaranteed. This is a step down from what Foe Slayer was in 2014. Looking over the other changes, they are nice, but it's debatable whether they are sufficient. At level 2, you still get Fighting Style, which are now feats, and you can choose Druidic Warrior from Tasha's. Also at level 2, you get Deft Explorer, you gain expertise in 1 skill and learn 2 languages. Okay, reflects the Ranger's eclectic knowledge. Cool. Level 6 brings with it Roving, which gives you an increase to your speed of 10 feet, but more importantly, a climb and a swim speed, which I really like as a key differentiator. Level 10 gives you Tireless, which allows you to use an action to gain 10 hit points and lets you reduce exhaustion by 1 level via a short rest. Now, you do lose Hide in Plain Sight, but you do get Nature's Veil at level 14, which lets you use a bonus action to become invisible for a turn, with a number of uses tied to your Wisdom mod. And lastly, Feral Senses, which grants you Blind Sight out to 30 feet. It should come to the surprise of no one that this class is already seeing a ton of homebrews online, specifically in addressing the reliance on Hunter's Mark. I already have some thoughts as to how I'll likely do it, baking in some 3.5 edition flavor, but balance for 5th, back into the class, but I'd like to hear from you. What do you think of the new Ranger, and if you agree it needs a tweak, what's your approach?